Hey everyone, this is James from Tin Robot Games, and this is the second attempt at this unboxing. The first one we had the background sci-fi music was way too loud. You couldn't hear anything I was saying. So I am going to redo this video, and then I'll just whack the other one. So first and foremost, I want to thank everyone who's backed the Cities of Venus universe so far. We have Cities of Venus Lost Contact, which is the campaign we ran a year and a half ago, which is now shipping. And people are starting to receive it already, getting great feedback from that game. Time Splicers, part of the Cities of Venus universe, that was an add-on to that first campaign. People that have got that game, again, lots of positive feedback on that game as well. So here we are talking tonight about the standalone sequel to Cities of Venus Lost Contact, which is called Cities of Venus Survivors. And this is something I am crazy excited about. You're not going to see me pull the shrink wrap off this because I'm having to kind of redo this this video, but we'll go over the same kind of key points. The first and foremost, I use Longpack for this particular game. This is a production copy that we have that's going to go out to all the content creators tomorrow. I'm going to ship it out to them, and this is my copy that I'm going to use for photography and video and so forth, and doing the GIFs and so forth for our campaign page. Cities of Venus Survivors comes out at the end of February is when we launched that campaign. Some of you may have seen the ads that are running on Facebook and Instagram right now as we speak. And we're going to go through this this opening today. So, first and foremost, Longpack did an amazing job. This thing just looks absolutely awesome. Artwork is done by Joe Masson. He's a Canadian artist. I'm so glad that we used him because he did an amazing job on this cover and the artwork you'll see on the inside. I want to point out that you see that there's a gap between the bottom of the box and the top of the box. That was done on purpose. The games will ship like this. And you'll see when we get on the inside, the punch outs. Once you take the punch outs out and you throw the slugs in the garbage, the box then will fully close for when it's on your shelf. So this is a trend we're starting to see a lot more with different manufacturers and publishers. Longpack asked me if we want to do it on this one. I said, yeah, sounds great. And I thought it was a great idea. So that's why we did that. All right. So first and foremost, opening this thing up, you're going to see that one thing I really like to do is make sure there's artwork all along the sides so that the experience kind of continues on even when you're opening up the box. And those of you who know me know that every one of my games, except for Tanks But No Thanks, which was the very first one we did, and when we reprint that one, we're going to do this one as well, is I always do inside lid printing. So we've got the cockpit of the mech, and then you can have the different comms windows of the engineers that you're working with all along the outside as well. And Kevin Levy is he's the designer of the third Chronicle that'll be coming in 2026. And he's an engineer, so we featured him as a character in this game here too. So there's Kevin's likeness on this particular engineer. So that's the inside lid of the box. Inside the box, you're faced with first your rule book. Again, shout out to Andrew Gilpin from Gilpin Games, as well as Sarah Pippi, who we call the Rules Ninjas. They do an amazing job going through and just making sure everything makes a lot of sense. And they really pushed me on this one to ensure that we had a lot of visuals. And Andrew had some really great ideas on how to even add more visuals to the game, just to the rule book, just to make it that much more understandable. So kudos to you guys for all the hard work you did on that. We then have the punch out slugs, which you see here, and the resolution of the terrain turned out way better than I thought it was going to. You'll see we've got these markers here as well. This is something that came up during one of our play tests. In this game, much like Fantastic Factories, where everyone's kind of working on their board, you have a central market, but you're working on your stuff. And often you want to know, okay, well, are we ready to go next round? Is everyone done? And so what we used to do is everyone would put their thumb up when they're ready to go to the next round. And someone had the idea of, well, why don't you just have a marker that you flip over and it's one color on one side, a different color than the other. And when everyone's ready, they just flip over the marker. Once all the colors are the same, move on to the next round. I thought it was a great idea. So kudos to the person. I can't remember who gave me that idea, so I'm sorry if I have forgotten. But one of the people will be in the back of the book as a lead playtester. Then inside the box, we have our components. You're going to see this organization tray as this thing kind of comes apart. You'll see how well Longpack designed this insert, which actually comes out and goes on the table and acts as an organizer while you're playing the game as well, which I thought was awesome. But let's start off with the player boards. So the player boards come out, and then underneath you have, so we get this way, then you have your cards and things like that that'll show there. I'll get to that in a second. Player boards, these turned out way better than I thought they were going to. They look absolutely awesome. You got a lot of kind of cutouts here for your dice, for your gems. You're going to have your engineers you're going to rescue along the way that join your team and become part of your mech. They slide in here. You can switch them on and off with their different abilities. Little cutouts for the meeples that you're going to pick up along the way as well to plug in there. This area is cutouts so you can actually roll your dice on there. If you don't want to roll on the table, you can roll it on your actual player board. And then we have cutouts up here for where the fuel rods go that you're ultimately going to find. And once you get 5 fuel rods, or someone gets 5 fuel rods, it triggers the what we call the launch sequence, which is kind of this roll off at the end. And depending on how well you built up your mech along the way, finding ore to help you manipulate dice, rescuing engineers to help you manipulate your dice, and so forth. Combination of all of those, as well as the number of fuel rods you have going into the end roll-off, all contribute to the likelihood of you being successful in leading the final ascent back up to the city. For those who don't know the story, and I'll just do a real quick flip back to that, Cities of Venus itself lost contact. That campaign was all about building a city and then building up as best you can and making it as rich and as populous as possible while bad things continue to happen until you lose contact with Earth, and at which point whoever has the best self-sufficient city wins the game. This one is in the same timeline, but complete standalone. It's part of the same kind of narrative of the universe, but it's a different game altogether. This one is you are one of the miners that go down to the surface to mine Venite, but in that process, something happens with your mech on your way down, and your ascent thrusters are damaged. You can't get off the surface, and you've resigned yourself to your fate until you see a signal off in the distance that there's actually a cryostasis pod that's landed that has landed intact with someone still alive in it. And you, with a renewed confidence, you say, okay, I'm going to go and rescue as many people as I can, find as many parts as I can to fix my ship, and get back up to the city and get everyone safe. So that's kind of the story behind this particular game. Okay, now we get into further layers of this box. We have the V-Nauts, which we had in the first game, and they're in this game as well. I'm trying to have common components across the different games. So you have, again, not just the same story elements, but you're starting to see similar kind of components. Venite ore, and the darker it is, the less valuable. And we'll get into what these things do in a second. We've got the cards. I'd already pulled these out of the shrink on the first attempt to do this this video, but these are the cards. And there's 2 different types of cards. There are engineers, and this will form a marketplace you can choose from. And you have different engineers. Again, there's Kevin. I think that one's name is Michaela. They all have different names. But it'll allow you to basically put a die on that engineer and manipulate your die. So really cool artwork. Again, Joe Masson. This guy did an amazing job. Like, he's just very, very talented dude. I think on the campaign page, I'm going to show some of the animations of like time lapse of him actually drawing some of the stuff, because it really is pretty cool. The back of those cards show the cryostasis pod. Then we also have mech parts that you find along the way as well. And these mech parts give you other things. So you can find more ore, or this one allows you to choose the face of your die. This one allows you to manipulate several die or one die several times. So they'll have these different parts. They're one-time use cards, but you find along the way. And again, you can unlock fuel canisters by collecting a number of these as well. Then inside the box, now we're getting down into the different cards and so forth. So I'll show you this one here. So these cards, and when I did the first opening, I realized that the factory printed the same. Oh, this one's different. So maybe only some of them are the same. Look at that one is different. So that side is different than that side. So when you draft a card, when you're exploring the surface, everyone starts off with your starting tile. And starting where this mech is you're exploring using these different shapes, and you're exploring out the surface. And as you uncover these or cover up these different gems, you can collect them. Those go towards stuff that you can unlock. If you here, the meeple, we'll put a meeple on the board. Once you cover up that meeple, you take the meeple, put it on your player board, and then grab an engineer from the market. So as you're exploring, you're adding more tiles, kind of like in Barren Park. So as you're exploring, you're kind of building it out, and you're exploring more and more and more. And you can have up to 4 different areas you can explore. So that's what those are. So one thing that came up while we were looking at these protos is some of them have the same image on both sides. These ones don't. So maybe there's only some of them like that. But the intent is every tile has 2 options for you to choose from, the one side or the back side. So there's a little more agency when you're choosing your random pile. The way around that, I think I'll tell the content creators, just shuffle them and create 2 separate piles, and then people can choose from which pile they want. They'll give enough choice when you're going through to emulate what we were wanting to do with a double-sided card that was different on both sides. So I'm going to take these out. And now we're getting into some more cool stuff. Now you've got the tray. This tray, once we do all the punch outs, will actually store the different shapes. And with the intent that you take this tray right out of the box and place it on the table. So right now for shipping, because they're putting little bags in the tray, they've got the dice down here, but during the actual game you'll have your V-Knight resources will be down here, the meeples will be down here, and the fuel rods. And then up here you have all the different shapes, and then there's even embossing. I don't know if you can see on there. Yeah, the numbers, like 1, is it down here? 1, 2, right? 3, there's a 4 over here. It just shows you easily when you're looking to grab your shape size, because you're unlocking different size of shapes. This helps you find where those are located easier in the actual tray. But this goes right on the table during play. The dice, it comes with a lot of dice, what adds to the weight of this game. This game is actually 6.5 pounds as it stands, which is crazy heavy. The first game was 7.5 pounds. So I'll have to make sure that I accommodate that in the actual shipping matrix that we put together. But it is already really heavy. What we're planning on doing this one is, like I did on the first game, is having a 4-player version, which will likely be this box. And then a 6-player version, which will be that new box we did for the Lost Contact with this big black gift box where there's different lids that open up and just looks really cool. Probably do that for the 6-player, and then the 4-player will be more just what you see here. And then your dice, you've got 2 different kinds of dice in this game. You have these guys, and you have these guys. So these guys is standard dice you have throughout the game, and these ones are temporary power boost dice, and these you get by using your pink V-Knight. You cash in, and it's a one-time use. Again, kind of like you see in Fantastic Factories where you have temporary dice. This is a temporary die you roll, and at the end of that round you give it back. So lots and lots of dice in this game. Again, it's predominantly what's adding to the weight. And then a really cool thing we have on the bottom is, we said, well, why not have the kind of the cockpit, like you're sitting in the chair and then looking up at the other area. So I thought that was kind of a cool little touch to have in the box. Again, just trying to go for the whole immersive experience. And that is the Survivor's box. So that is kind of everything you get. I'll show you these power meeples as well. Pull these out. I'm going to show you 2 more things actually on this. So we've got these little power meeples, and they're double-sided, printed on both sides. And these go into these boards, so when you unlock them, you just put them at the top, like so. The hole doesn't quite go snug against these meeples. We're going to change that for the final run. We'll actually make that hole a little bit smaller, so it's just a little more snug with these power pieces. And then your V-knots, when you rescue somebody, they go there. So they plug into these little slots here, and then you put your card in. So I'll take one of these guys here. It goes like that. This is size so it can hold sleeves as well, because I know everyone always asks about sleeves. When you're not using them, they're off to the right, and then you basically, when you use them, you switch them to to the left side, and then you can see the indicator that, okay, now you're not using this because you've already used it, and you can manipulate a die once per round. At the end of the round, you switch them all back along the way. This is something that came up during a playtest. It was really cool. We had planned on doing domino size cards here, and I couldn't get domino sleeves in time for a playtest I was doing at this event. So I shrunk the cards and put them into Everdell size sleeves, which is what I had here, which was going to be temporary. And what I found when I was watching players play, they were naturally doing this kind of switch on and off thing with these cards, and the light bulb went off for us, and we're like, we should just make them small and make that a function that you switch these on and off as you go through the game. So it's funny how these little things, these little, for lack of a better word, mistakes can sometimes lead to better design, which is kind of cool too. So that, my friends, is the Survivors of Venus box. I am super excited. As I said, tomorrow morning, this is going to go to all the content creators. We only did 11 of these, so one I'll use for photography and video, gifts and so forth for the Kickstarter page. The other 10, I've already got content creators lined up to take these. Tabletop Tolson, Tabletop Vibes, we've got Billy in Indiana, and so forth. Games on is it Games on Brains or Brains on Games is doing it as well here in Canada. So very excited. We went with content creators that we know do a great job, are very thoughtful in the content they create, and quite frankly are good at reading like briefs and things like that, because that's kind of important. You want to make sure that the content that's created actually reflects what your intentions are. So that was all part of that. Lastly, two more other little announcements we're going to do. One is, if you join us as part of our VIP program, I'll put a link in this video. It's $1. And so if you sign up now for $1, you join our VIP program. You can join our VIP Facebook page, and you get the VIP content. And you get Dust Reclamation, which is an add-on. So this is a trick-taking game, which is part of the same universe. You get this for free. If you're not a VIP, you can still buy this, but it'll be an add-on that'll cost you, it's either going to be $25 or $30. I haven't figured that out yet. But this will be an add-on, and you get that for free. You just have to pay for shipping on this particular game if you join our VIP. So check out the VIP. And the other thing we're doing is we always try to make our initial pledges sticky. And what I mean by that is you want people, when they back, to not then jump ship. So if they back within the first kind of 72 hours, you want to try to hold them if you can, because that'll help with the algorithms and help with that kind of front-end hockey stick. Last time we did a first player marker that we end up just giving to everybody, but what we did to compensate for that is we did these presidential wings. And we did these in the last campaign. So anybody that backed in the first 72 hours got this for free. Again, you can still buy it. I think it was like a $7 add-on. But if you backed during the campaign, you got it for free. We're doing another set of wings, which will be mech wings, pilot wings. And they'll look different. So I think the idea is over 3-4 Chronicles, when the story's finally done, there'll be all these different sets of wings. And then we'll have some kind of a thing that they can all kind of connect into, which I think would be kind of cool. But there will be another set of wings coming for the people that back us in the first day one backers, which we define as the first 72 hours. We'll get them for free. So keep an eye out for that. They'll look different than this. They actually have a picture of a mech on them, and they angle up. And I believe they're kind of like rose gold in color. So there you are, my friends. That was a quick speed run through this this opening. Sorry you didn't get to see me open up the shrink wrap. But as I said, the audio was absolutely cooked on the last version of this I did. We're going to do a lot more videos, obviously, but I wanted to catch you today when I got these. Literally just came in last night, so super excited, super stoked, and just wanted you to kind of see and feel what I'm feeling when I open these up. So anyways, thank you again so much for your support on our campaign, and I want to wish you guys all the best for the rest of your weekend. Take care. Cheers.